Hello everyone, today is 29th of December 2022 and I'm continuing my series Daily Reality with Alex. Today I'm in a spa zone in Austria and that's why you find me here in the spa zone, but I would like to continue my series Daily Reality with Alex. You can see how people are relaxing in Austria before and after skiing. And of course, some of you that knows, in Austria it's impossible to go into the sauna without being 100% naked. So for human beings that are ashamed, they need to find different ways to circumvent or to try to cover themselves as much as possible as it is allowed there. But anyhow, today I was willing to speak about knowledge, about how we acquire knowledge, and do we at all need the knowledge in order to succeed in life, because this is a big mantra and I'm quite amazed. Now I'm 48 years old and 2-3 years back I became really frustrated that during my adulthood I'm coming into maturation and there are so many fundamental things about life, about reality, that actually I have been able only to mark in my life, and I was never able to comprehend them and what to say about applying them in my outer and inner reality. Of course, I got lucky because I became Christian when I was 17 years old. So to some extent, by my intuition and by the so-called grace of God, I was able to do some of the things even without understanding why I'm doing them, but it was helping me a lot during this period. But now with my consciously, I'm trying and working strongly from one side to de-learn myself from a lot of things that have created in me the delusion that actually we as human beings know something. And it brings, of course, false confidence, but also there is a big beauty, because when I found out that reality is out there to be of help for us, and once we are surrounded with reality, we actually don't need anything more. We have everything that is out there, and all the knowledge is 100% and totally and constantly available at a demand for when we want it and when we need it. Of course, based on our comfort zone experience and the way how we want to be treated, we are creatures that are unable to live out of comfort zone, and only in the comfort zone we feel cozy, and that's why we need to be surrounded with knowledge. It doesn't matter if it's false or correct, how close it is to synchronicity with reality. It doesn't matter. The important thing is to have all our questions not exactly answered, but to have the delusion that we have the answers to all the questions. Because now I'm 48 years old and now I'm starting to understand that actually I've never knew anything, and I really wonder how little, in a sense, the human beings know about the world, know about themselves, and still we are surrounded with so much information, and it is really very funny, but in a sense it is just showing me and pointing to me that life and reality is not to be lived by knowledge, and we don't need to have answers in order to experience reality. The only thing we need to grasp in this experience is to create a connection between us as a being and reality, where we're interacting daily, and the creator and the governor of everything in reality. So if we have this type of a trinity between us, our creator, and the reality that is out there objectively outside of us, through which we are receiving our data stream, it is quite enough. I know a lot of people are thinking that reality is just trapping us and it is just limiting us, and reality is something that we are to ignore, to escape, to not be involved in, and we try to go into mentalism. We are trying to move very strongly into knowledge, gnosis and knowledge, and the knowing of good and evil is going to make us like God, and we are going to understand everything, and we cannot give up this impulse about knowing, because we think that once we know, we are going to have the solutions for everything. But reality is showing us totally the opposite. More we know about the things as they actually are, more we are to go outside of our comfort zone, because actually reality is much more raw and much more growth-centric and much more out of comfort way of putting us in. So more and more I'm not moving forward into truth seeking. A lot of people are now truthers. They want to find out the truth, and they're giving everything, all their energy, to find the truth in order to maybe explain it to all the others. In my reality, I'm doing totally the opposite. I'm just trying to learn in a way by experience and intuition to feel and to be more connected and more aligned with reality and with everything in creation, in order to implement and to be able to express more of myself to the extent that it is allowed for me. This is why I was triggered in the morning when some guy was answering a lot of questions, and one of the people that was in a chat was not, he was saying that actually the questions that were answered were not concrete, he couldn't understand anything, and he was complaining. And it led me to the conclusion why we are seeking answers. This is a big question for me. Questions and answers are the ones that some people are saying that are the steering wheel of the mind, and it makes us wonder, and we are to ask questions. Once we ask questions, we are actually finding and putting our attention under to be explorer. So I'm going to give you one example that, of course, we did it by intuition. It was based on our Christian belief, and since Christianity is willing to establish that there is another system that is 100% different than the system of the world, and I'm resisting to a lot of things that are presented before me just as ready concepts and just as something that is to be 100% accepted as the only and the ultimate truth. So I have 3 children, and all of the 3 of them never have been in the educational system, and my wife was strongly proposing to me to not put our children through the educational system, but to go into homeschooling and to try to create and to help them and influence them as much as possible, they to be able to explore and to reveal reality for themselves. I did it without much preparation. My intuition was leading me to say, okay, it is something good for me. I don't need to have all the knowledge why it is important or why it's good or what is going to happen if my children are not educated and so on. And of course, all the big answers to the big questions sometimes comes years after we are asking them. It is good to ask questions, but never expect the answer to come in 5 minutes, in 10 minutes. With a question, just an explorational process is starting. So more and more I was out of the system and my children were homeschooled, but not just homeschooled, but more we were trying to de-learn them and they to go into exploration. And little by little we have created a result in them that of course also we didn't like, because based on their de-learning processes and based on this that they alone are making their own personal conclusions about reality, about life, and their personalities that are not accepting anything as an answer without questioning and without trying to learn and to teach and to study to some extent. So what happened with our children is that they are now much more into thinking and they have created their own personal different thought processes, that everything that is in an educational system, is it good or bad, I cannot answer, but for sure I don't like what the educational system is giving as an end result, because it is creating a lot of answers for everything that is out there in humanity. And in this way, of course, we are creating a civilization, we are creating uniformity so that we can understand each other. Now when I'm speaking with you about economy, about business, you are understanding me very clearly, because it is the same knowledge that is spread throughout the world. Is it the true knowledge? Is it a lot of delusion in it? It doesn't matter. The important thing is that it is a uniformity through which we can go back and forward in every direction. And when you move strongly into understanding knowledge and go into the educe process, where actually knowledge is all the time inside of us and we are to take it out on the surface based on our mental processes and based on our questions, searching and exploration, then we realize that knowledge and answers and education is never an external process, but it comes from the inside of us. And that's why I am now very pleased to be an example and for myself to be in this de-learning process, where I'm de-learning a lot of the things that I have taken as granted from the educational system, because I have been through it, but also I'm developing inside of me this educe process where I'm creating for myself and extracting knowledge that is helping me in my special personal reality. And for me, it's very fundamental if the knowledge and if the education is making from us an interactional and a functional being, or is it creating out of us a dysfunctional beings that are constantly staying into our imagination. We are seeking comfort, we are seeking a lot of dreamy things just to happen to us, and we are not willing to take responsibility and charge about the rulership of our own personal reality. And even today, when I'm looking and searching for a lot of answers, the only thing I can find out is that there are so many confusions, there are so many facets, There are so many different views, and of course, in reality, paradoxically to what we have been taught in education, that we need to find the one dogma, and this dogma needs to be projected to all the humanity. Actually, it is much more beautiful and it is much more rich when we have a lot of different approaches and a lot of different categories that are showing towards the same knowledge. And behind knowledge is the invisible, it is the unknown, it is the nothingness. So anyhow, I'm amazed at 48 years that I can speak and say whatever I want, and nobody else can disprove me or say that what I'm saying is wrong, because all of us are actually educing and extracting knowledge outside through our inner experience. So everyone has a right to extract whatever knowledge he has or he is using. The only important thing is we to learn from each other, we to monitor each other, and the big validator about if the knowledge is functional is the reality. If you are able to perform in reality, if you are able to express a lot of yourself in reality, if you are able to be authentic, if you are able to be in high vibrations, if you are able to be really expressing all type of emotions, not only positive or not only negative, but to have all the varieties of yourself being expressed in reality, and also if you are able to be positioned and placed in reality as someone that is beneficial for others, then your knowledge is of a help, and then you are not into the limited beliefs that are putting you like programs, how are you to behave in order to be dysfunctional, but you are starting to create your own personal functionality. And this is how I'm doing it. This is how I'm not anymore seeking for gurus, I'm not seeking for special mentors, or I'm not seeking for some specific knowledge that is so secret that nobody knows. No, we explore everything that is out there, and it is so beautiful because this is how the wholeness works. And there is a big difference between oneness and wholeness, because in oneness it puts the impression that there should be uniformity. Whatever I think, you should think. Whatever is in my head should be in your head. Whatever is in my reality should be in your reality. But the wholeness works in different way. If we just state right now that we are to project in reality that all the human beings are to immediately become rich, and we are to create uniformity, and all the human beings should have at least $1 million US, and only then we are going to express real happiness, real humanity, and so on. This is actually not going to create what we intend with our goals to project. Reality is giving all the possibilities for poorness to exist, for health to exist, for people that are ill to exist, for people that are happy to exist, for people that are suffering to exist. So all the existence is not to be neglected, because all of this is limitation. And why we have the reality, a lot of people are still wondering why should we go through our daily experience. And for me, this is the most wonderful thing that can happen to a limitless being, because only while we are here in this experience we can have limitations. whatever the limitations you are having in your data stream right now, or I'm having in my data stream right now, it is so wonderful to experience them. And instead of complaining, instead of don't liking our reality, it is better to accept it as it is. I know a lot of you are going to say, Alex, it is very easy for you because you're a rich person and you can allow yourself to have a much more nice reality, and now you're in this spa zone and everything is much more shiny, and you can look around and you can be surrounded with much more happiness. And when I'm poor and I'm starving and I'm thinking about my next meal, it is not the same, and then I am allowed to hate my reality. But actually, as long as I'm not allowed to be bored from my reality, because the rich people have also their negatives. A lot of rich people are bored from everything that they are experiencing. For example, right now I have been to more than maybe 50 or 60 different winter resorts in Austria, Switzerland, Italy, France. So I actually am so bored that I don't care where I am every minute. I have been to different places, so this is not an important thing for me. For a poor person, this is very interesting. For him, it's boring to have his daily reality. For me, actually, I'm not allowed to be bored, and I'm also not complaining, but so is everyone that have a data stream, not to be complaining, but to understand the relation between the limitless being and the relation between the unlimited one that is inside of us. Because the big purpose for any one of us, it doesn't matter if it's rich, poor, if it's clever, if it's in the Western society, if it's in the Eastern society, the big thing for all of us is just to interact with reality, just to understand who we are by interacting with reality, and to be able to express more of the limitless being that we are based on the situations we are put in. And as much as we are beneficial for others to the extent that it is allowed for us, this is the most beautiful thing. And of course, long term, there is only one purpose for us experiencing this reality: to understand and to find out that it is not the ego that is going to give us the solutions, but it is actually our connection with our Creator and the reality experience that is creating this loop of transformation, of knowledge, of glow, of actual experience of reality that is giving us purpose and meaning in this existence. And then when we meet other human beings, we will not be pity for them. Of course, we are developing the care principle, but now it's working in a totally different way. Yes, I care for the poor people, but I don't want to fix them. It's not my job to make every poor person rich, but I need to have a compassion and to know that there is no difference between me and anyone else in this experience. If he's put in a specific experience, this is the best thing that in the moment is corresponding to who is he willing to express in the moment. If he's willing to experience more of richness, more of different type of reality, to the extent that I can, I'm willing to help. And that's why I've created my coaching business, and I have dedicated 1/7 of my time to train, to mentor, and to coach whoever is willing to work with me, but only regarding ruling reality. This is what I'm interested in, and according to me, from there, the source of everything is happening. I'm not a mindset coach, because mindset is working only with the surface of reality. I like to go into the deep. I love to work in deepness, and I love to see limitless beings that are understanding their limitations, that are accepting them, but are able to influence and express themselves in reality. So thank you for watching today. Enjoy your reality, and don't worry, we will never be educated to the extent that we want to be educated, but we have reality and data stream all the time, daily, and knowledge is already inside. Trust, and go. Bye bye.